Hey everyone, me Kevin here. Boy, I'm so excited to announce something. It's actually taken me a few minutes to get this together this morning, but it's finally ready. Mark your calendar, December 9th. We're actually going to be ringing the bell at the stock exchange, which is really cool. And you're invited. I'm going to do a meetup at 4:30 p.m. outside the stock exchange. And if you are a course member, there's a form you can fill out, and we're going to do a raffle just for course members. We're going to bring in about 125 course members to the inside of the floor of the exchange, kind of like in front of where the bell is. So really, really cool, very exciting, and very exciting opportunity, obviously, for course members as well. If you're a new course member joining with the Black Friday stuff, you'd be able to fill out that form as well, and get a shot to come in. Any of our Discord mods, by the way, which you can join Discord for free. They're in there talking in the free channels all the time. They're so great. They're so wonderful. I'm so grateful to them. Any of our Discord mods are going to get a guaranteed spot in, which is very, very cool, and I think an excellent reward for the phenomenal work they do for us. I'm very very happy for them. They work so hard. They don't even get paid. They deserve a lot more appreciation, especially from me. So yeah, hopefully this helps contribute to that. Anyway, let's get to what's going on in the world of finance today. Look, today's obviously, this is December 9th, to be clear. I just see some of your comments here. December 9th, 4 p.m., closing bell, New York Stock Exchange, and then I'll probably come outside. I'm thinking like 4:30, and then I can meet people outside. You can obviously see the bell on TV as well, or whatever. I was kind of thinking about live streaming it on the channel as well, kind of, so it's sort of like vlog style at the same time. I think will be kind of cool. Anyway, yeah, it's really exciting. I'm kind of jumping up and down. I mean, it's like a big deal. Some people work on Wall Street their whole lives and never go into the New York Stock Exchange, so it's pretty crazy. Anyway, yeah, so today's a big day. We've got the FOMC meeting minutes. This is probably one of the larger catalysts between now and the beginning of, or I should say, well, the beginning of the end, mid December. That's because we're going to get the CPI reading on the 15th of I'm sorry, the CPI reading comes out on the 13th. The FOMC meeting is on the 15th. Those are both going to be a very big deal. But the reason today at 11 p.m. is likely going to be a big deal is because of the minutes that come out at 11. Now, I've made some videos on this, so I don't want to go like I don't want to be super redundant here. But the minutes are very important because we want to start seeing the Fed not only talk about the lagging effects of monetary policy, but we want to see how long do they think the lag is. It used to be 18 months. It used to be believed to be 18 months. Now Jerome Powell says maybe it's a lot shorter than that, potentially instantaneous when financial conditions tighten, because we see bond yields move up in anticipation of the Fed tightening. But recently, in the last few weeks, bond yields have been coming down, 3.74 on the 10-year today. And, we believe we're going to hear some news about what they think lagging means. We also think we're going to get some insights into their discussion around what does it actually mean to slow down and go from 75 basis point hikes to 50. Is there a time for a pause? Or an opportunity for a pause in rate hikes? When might that be? Is it March? Is it February or May? The May meeting? So we'll get a lot of insight on that. So I would expect low trading volumes until the FOMC meeting minutes come out. I don't think it's necessarily necessary for institutions to be flying into the market until these minutes come out. But then also another big sort of liquidity draw will probably be saved for the CPI release. I think we get two big CPI reports in a row. It's going to be a pretty big deal. So very, very excited about that, I should say. Now, futures right now relatively flat. Flat to stable here. Dow minus 0.12. You've got S&P 0.08 to the downside. NASDAQ 0.02 up. Yesterday I was talking a little bit about Google, and I wanted to add a little bit more clarity as well as with PCs. not like jumping up and down here about the idea that PCs have hit bottom yet. Reading into Hewlett Packard a little bit and Dell. I don't know that PC demand has hit a bottom yet. We're still expecting pain into 2023. Although if the stock market is going to begin to price in those expectations, it makes you wonder when that U-turn comes for PCs. So something to pay attention to, but it might be a little premature. You do have a lot of worries about an earnings recession in 2023. So that's something we have to be very cognizant of, is that a lot of companies are going to see negative earnings. You're already seeing that at, Facebook's revenue down, for example, year over year. You're starting to see sequential declines even, which is quarter to quarter, at other companies, retailers especially. Nordstrom was a complete disaster, by the way, complete disaster. So, it explains why they're down 7% right now. Autodesk actually wasn't even that big of a miss yesterday when we covered the earnings in the close. And they are still down like 8.5% right now here in pre-mark. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the pre-market moves that we've got here. So pre-market moves, we've got, there's Autodesk down 8.5%. There's Nordstrom 7.25%. Occidental Petroleum down 2%. Must mean oil's trending down a little bit on, probably Chinese growth views again. Oh, Russian price cap talks. Okay, yeah, well. So Brent right now, 85. That's a pretty big number. What I would love to see is over the next 3 days, especially, we got Thanksgiving, markets are closed tomorrow. I'd really like to see oil fall, ideally today, because when that third data set gets pulled for CPI, I'd love to have a negative read for energy. But we started the month off a little high for energy, so we'll pay attention to that. Let's see here. Then we've got, there's also fear about the rail halting, the strikes. Apparently Biden is involved in negotiations with this. So I don't know if that means things are going to get better or worse. Sorry, everybody's got to make fun of the president. This got to be like the toughest job in terms of hate. So everybody's got a complaint, a bone to pick with you. Carvana is actually up 7% here in pre-market. It's interesting to me. I wonder if that's just because it's fallen so much. But we'll take a peek in a moment here. Tesla a couple percent. It's been scraping along the bottom. The S&P 500's been up 6.5% over the last month. Tesla's been down 20%. A lot of this on the Twitter overhang. Although also I'll be releasing a Tesla video probably right around 7 a.m. this morning. So in about 40 minutes, we'll release a Tesla video. So again, if you haven't yet watched the beginning of this live stream, make sure you take a peek at the announcement about ringing the bell at the New York Stock Exchange December 9th. You're invited to the outside, and if you're a course member, fill out the form to be invited to potentially be invited to the inside. You got to cover your own travel, obviously, and stay, but it's free if you come in to the floor, which is pretty cool. So we're excited to have you. Minutes. When are the minutes? They are at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern today. So they are not an early release. We're not getting these, sometimes we get these releases at 7 a.m. or 5:30 or whatever. The minutes are more relaxed. They come at 11. I'll be covering those live, so you can come back for the live stream then. So, okay, let's get a little bit of looking into here. I was reading a little bit about, it's so terrible, but I was reading a bit. Oh, wow. Hold on. I want to actually see this video. Hold on.
Been agreed upon under very tight COVID restrictions in order to get extra pay. They also say that they are fearing the virus spread in the facility. Now, Foxconn said in a statement that it is communicating with workers and the government to avoid a recurrence and is offering workers compensation. Now, this protest comes as China's COVID situation appears to be going national. Zhengzhou, which is China's iPhone city, announced tonight that it's putting its downtown area in effective lockdown until next Tuesday. It's also ramping up mass testing to go to every day. Megacity Chongqing is now in effective lockdown. Chengdu, which just got out of a lockdown in September, is now in mass testing. Shanghai canceled an auto event. Manufacturing hub Shenzhen and Sanya, which is in China's version of Hawaii, both are imposing more restrictions in public places. And this comes after Beijing and the area around it, as well as export hub Guangzhou, already said that they were tightening controls. So Capital Economics, which is a research firm, said that they're fearing that the situation could head towards what we saw in early 2020, when hundreds of millions of people were in lockdown to the detriment of the economy. Now, the Capital Economics says, while there's little prospect of the authorities opting to step back from the zero COVID policy during the winter, there is a significant risk that containment efforts fail. Guys?
Yeah.
Eunice, talk to me about the degree to which any kind of stimulus or government support for the economy is being considered, and how would that even be helpful if, in fact, you're restricting personal economic activity in the first place?
Right. I think that of course, there's been a lot of discussion about stimulus measures, especially when it comes to the property sector, and the government has been directing some money into that sector as well as other incentives. However, the big problem, of course, is all the uncertainty. And from a consumer perspective, the fact that you could get locked down, or that businesses are randomly shut, and the fact that the regulations are not very clear at all. In fact, a lot of as we've discussed, a lot of the decision making is being devolved to the local level. So a business, for example, told me just today that they wouldn't be able to deliver a chair that I actually had ordered because their local manager said that they are not allowed to go into the shop to pick up the chair. So it's like those level decisions, and it's all being handed at the very, very, very micro local level, that make it really difficult to do business.
Wow, that is
that's honestly just terrible. What's going on in China? You've got a couple thousand new COVID cases here. Plus in a couple days here. We've got more than 1,000 new infections in Beijing over the past 2 days. Beijing's COVID fight now being deemed to be at a critical point, according to the Global Times. Given the seriousness of the outbreak, Beijing has once again asked residents to reduce their movement around the city. Remember that we've been tracking sort of this rise in COVID cases for a bit here, and there are a lot of concerns that Tesla might actually lock down again at Tesla Giga Shanghai. Fortunately, we haven't seen a lot of case explosion in Shanghai. They've had relatively fewer cases, but if they're unable to sort of contain this with the extremeness of the lockdowns that we see, it just wouldn't be a surprise to see this end up spreading over to Shanghai as well. Pretty common. We have, let's see, I have a chart of COVID cases from, I want to say 2 days ago. Oh, yeah, here it is. Got it. Look at that. China's new daily COVID levels. Mainland China here. You can see the explosion on the right side here. Really happening a lot here in October. Obviously, we're moving into the winter months here as well. So getting a little bit more pain. You're going back to levels that we saw post-Omicron, which is just not ideal. Remember that Shanghai had substantial lockdowns here, but if you look at the yellow here, the yellow is Shanghai, and you just really don't have any yellow over here, not to be confused with the orange here. The 39 case Shanghai, very, very low right now. Let's hope it stays that way. But given the seriousness of the outbreak, Beijing has once again asked residents to reduce their movement around the city. Starting Thursday, residents must have a negative test, nucleic acid test, within 48 hours in order to enter public venue buildings in Beijing. And this all comes after the idea that they would potentially start reducing some of the COVID restriction measures, which is just really bad timing because it sort of aligns with like potentially Chinese politicians being able to say, look, we lowered COVID restrictions. I mean, they tend to have a lot of unity in the party though anyway, so maybe not, but people are going to think that, I imagine, is, oh no, lower, reduce the restrictions, and all of a sudden cases are jumping. It's going to create some fear. And potentially some calls for more lockdowns in China, which is unfortunate. But this China issue is big. The protests you saw at the Foxconn facility as well for Apple, clearly hitting Apple. I think it'd be interesting to look at Apple.com, and let's just get a peek at iPhone itself. In terms of how long you'd have to wait right now to get an iPhone. I actually do have the iPhone 14. I also made a video that I personally thought was very good. It was comparing the iPhone 13 to the iPhone 14. If you want to look at that, you can just type in Meet Kevin iPhone 13, 14. But I guess I'm not a tech review channel, so anyway, is the iPhone 14 worth it? I don't notice a difference. Let me put it that way. And I did a camera review and some other reviews as well, and you're welcome to see for yourself. But let's say you wanted to buy an iPhone 14 right now. What would you be looking at? Well, let's see. If we just grabbed an iPhone 14, let's get the deep purple, whatever. I just want to see what's available. No trade-in. Okay, what? Come on, I'm just going to buy it. Any carrier. Come on. All right, so it looks like, wow, you are not going to get an iPhone until January 3rd. You can see that delivery right here. January 3rd, that's about a 6-week lead time. All of them showing up as delivery by the 3rd. Let me look at different colors here. No, it doesn't matter what you pick. The iPhone Pro is going to be January 3rd. Pro Max, doesn't matter what you pick. They are basically bluntly telling you we are not going to be able to get you iPhones until next year. That's pretty remarkable. Let's jump into iPads here. Rumor is, by the way, they're going to come out with a larger iPad. One rumor was 14 inches. One rumor was 16 inches. I'll tell you, I'll take more inches. I would love more inches. The bigger, the better. So I'm a big fan of iPads. I don't need that stuff. I already got that. All right, come on. Let's see. Okay, so the iPad's available by November 29th. So you can probably get some iPad sales. Very exciting. So yeah, okay, that's Apple. Let's go ahead and see if Apple's getting hit at all in stonk land. Not really. I mean, honestly, Apple's been doing very well, all things considered, for the year. You've got rising action here off of the June lows. A lot of companies, by the way, off of their June lows. Just look at Royal Caribbean, for example. Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines. There we go. Look at that, from 31, almost a double from June. Really remarkable. It shows that it looks like the market really potentially bottomed around June, which is quite interesting because I launched HouseHack, my real estate startup, in June, which is basically like the bottom potentially of the market. Very, very interesting. So yeah, well, that's a compliment. Thanks. Yeah, I don't know how much tech I'm going to actually cover, but I don't mind making my opinions, on tech. If people want to watch it, I'll gladly do it. I might just simplify it and just sort of do some bottom line opinions. I mean, I have so much of it. I even got a Samsung phone now. Well, yeah, I have 3 phones. I don't recommend it. But anyway, so okay, yeah, stock. What I want to look at now as well is the Fed's terminal rate. Let's take a look at that. So Fed terminal rate. Let's see if it moved up. Yesterday we were at 5.2 at market close for the terminal rate. With what the futures market is pricing in. Futures market now pricing in, oh my gosh, 5.245, moving up again. So are seeing the expectations for a higher peak. Right, let's see here. What else do we have? Initial jobless claims spiked to 240. Finally, a little bit of a pop there in jobless claims. Keep in mind that during the Great Recession, though, we were at jobless claims of well in excess of 300,000. So, and then substantially more thereafter. I'm not even comparing to COVID, but the reason I mentioned that is, moving from 220,000 jobless claims to 240,000 jobless claims, it's just not a noticeable difference here. Let's see here. What is this? A higher anticipated peak in the Fed rate is becoming accompanied by a subsequent steeper fall in rates, contradicting the Fed's message of higher for longer. Expect the current trends of short-term support in stocks, subdued volatility, and curve flattening. This is interesting. So really, there's this murmuring going on now that's suggesting that, look, the terminal rate peak may be higher, but it actually may stay there for a shorter period of time. This is going to be something the market ends up having to parse out, and will be a direct impact on stock prices in the short term. Of course, all this stuff just matters in the short term. I know it's easy to say, oh, it's a long run investment, as almost like a cop out, but like I'll just give you an example. Tesla ain't trading on fundamentals right now. It's trading on Twitter drama. Let's listen to the bell.
Interesting though on HP, PC units down 21, printing down 7.
Yeah, exactly.
That's something, if you work from home, you definitely understand why that's happening.
Exactly.
There's the opening bell of the CNBC Real-Time Exchange. That's the big board. It was the 96th Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade on NBC tomorrow morning. Santa came in here and said, I smell a Santa Claus today.
That's right.
Oh, they did a cute little banner back there, and look at that. They're dressed up as Santa Claus and some other people. What should I dress up as? Should I have green hair or green eggs and ham? Just as a reminder here, and I want to look at how sticks are moving here, but just as a quick reminder, I talked about it at the beginning of the live stream. We will be ringing the bell at the New York Stock Exchange set for December 9th. We'll do a meetup afterwards outside. It's the closing bell. And if you are a course member, you can sign up to join me inside the floor of the exchange. It's not up at the bell. It's kind of in front of the bell. At the floor of the exchange, we'll be able to bring in about 100 people, which is really cool, really exciting. So bell ringing December 9th. Mark your calendar for that. It's going to be really cool. All right. So let's see here. All right. Let's go look at some sticks. Boom. What do we got? So we have the NASDAQ moving actually slightly up, 0.13. It was at 0.12 this morning in the futures market. Let's see what we've got actually moving here. Carvana now up 10%. Oh, that's right. I want to see if there's news on Carvana. Tesla up 2.2. Price target upgrades this morning on Tesla, especially from a Wall Street bear, which was pretty unique. Autodesk, Nordstrom suffering around that 8% drop. TSMC, some of that Warren Buffett enthusiasm wearing off a little bit. You're getting that the weight of Dell and HP and Apple weakness for chips here, potentially leading TSMC to just claw back just a tiny bit. Apple down about 0.25%. Those Foxconn protests not helping iPhone deliveries. All iPhone deliveries now, based on what we saw jumping into the Apple.com website, showing a January delivery date, which is certainly a lot longer than usual. I want to say I actually had to wait about 3 or 4 weeks to get my iPhone 14, but I ordered within 2 hours of it, of the orders opening up. Yeah, I actually think I'll be streaming the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange. I won't be ringing it, but what I want to do is I want to vlog the closing bell as we go to ring it. I don't know if I'm allowed to do that. I want to make sure we respect all the rules. So I'm very excited to see what ends up happening. It's it's a life experience. It's pretty cool. Okay, so what's going on with Carvana? Let's see. Carvana stock rises on insider buying activity. Carvana rises as insider buys $1 million in company shares. CPO Gil. What is that? What is a CPO? CPO Carvana insider. Let's see. A CPO. I don't know what a CPO is, but no, I don't know. Anyway, some dude inside of Carvana bought, I guess, $1 million worth of shares. Sometimes they do this to manipulate the market. You have to be careful with that. Like it's easy to like have one person buy some shares on the inside, and they could sell them in theory right away, and then have 2 days to disclose that. And you could kind of like get a little bit of a pump and dump going. Now, I that probably would get you in trouble with the SEC, and it's certainly not something to advocate. But I'm just saying sometimes these share buys, these insider buys, are done as a signal to markets, right? They're done as a way to say like, hey, don't keep selling us. We're buying. Like it doesn't actually fundamentally change. Chief purchasing, chief product officer, and maybe something like that. Product purchasing, yeah. Okay, that's a very good potential. I should dress up as a Dell computer at the New York Stock Exchange. Yeah, I don't think so. No, probably just suit and tie. You don't want to do anything. Like people already have this impression that YouTuber is like somehow like condescending, and so you don't want to like be a joker You gotta be professional. So, okay, let's see here. What? Well. Let's listen into Bloomberg here for a moment. Let's see what we got on Doomberg.
From the immediate aftermath of the global financial crisis up until maybe late last year, when the Fed insisted that inflation would be transitory and then more or less said, oops, maybe we were wrong. And as they try to recapture that, I think investors are embedding some risk premium for as the Fed trying to offer forward guidance through the rear view mirror. Now, what the equity market still has to work through is, what is the earnings impact? And I think that's where the questions get more interesting, because you have some questions about inventory. We've seen that's been flushing its way through the system and somewhat noisily in the equity market. But importantly, a lot of companies have been talking so much about they worked so hard to hire people that they intend to keep them. And I think that might be supportive of sales, but also might pressure margins. And to the extent that equity investors rely on companies to really guide them towards what the sales and earnings outlook looks like, we might have a better sales outcome, certainly supported by inflation, as we were just talking about. But at the same time, are the profits going to be there as certainly as we would have thought in the past?
Come on, man, this is old news, dude. Like, sales are going to get boosted by inflation. Come on, man, that's bullcrap. Are the earnings going to be there? That is more important. Like what Dell said, they're not going to reduce the prices of PCs. They're just going to take more margin. Very interesting. Let's listen to this here on Tesla.
After that, well, Bloomberg's Kayleigh Lyons joining us now. Kayleigh.
Oops, wrong.
Consumer sentiment, demand, commercial partnerships, government relations support, and even capital markets support. No real surprise, or perhaps because we've been surmising the same thing. It's kind of almost a proxy for how badly things are going at Twitter.
There has been an acceleration lower in Tesla shares since the Twitter deal closed, and since you've basically had a real-time glimpse at Musk trying to change things, corral things.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be posting a Tesla video in about 23 minutes, which reminds me I have to edit the darn thing. Whatever. I'll handle that. So I'll watch my Tesla video. I think that'll give you some good insight into sort of my thesis on Tesla, my thoughts, also some big updates regarding the Inflation Reduction Act. That's going to be very interesting. So stay tuned for that Tesla video dropping shortly. Hector here wants to know, Kevin, random question. Do you still hold BTC? I sold all of my crypto in January. I briefly bought back Cardano and lost 10% or something on that. And then I dumped that too, like a little weenie. I do not hold any crypto right now. And all my venture capital investments in crypto are basically worth zero. So I guess you could say my exposure to crypto right now is zero. I think there are a lot of very good, fundamentally driven deals in the stock market right now. I think there are a lot of excellent companies with phenomenal pricing power that can be purchased, and I'm very excited about really, honestly, the next year. I couldn't be more optimistic about the market right now, and I was very, very pessimistic in January. I don't think I've been extremely optimistic for most of the year. And I don't want to say I'm extremely optimistic, but I'm very optimistic right now. I don't know if there's much of a difference in that. Anyway, so I'm not at all worried about this whole earnings recession crap or defaults or foreclosures and that sort of thing. I just don't see it. Indices now turning green. We're at about 0.25% across the board on indices. Yeah, it actually looks like we're getting a little bit of a rally push here before the minutes. That's actually interesting. I was expecting a lower activity. By the way, I bought some, just in full transparency, I was talking about Meta yesterday, and I forgot to say in the video, which I should have said. I was talking about how I think it's a good thing that, what's his name? Mark Zuck is getting the boot. And I forgot to mention, which I should have. I just want to make sure I do that if I have a positive position. I have some short-term calls on Facebook, and I don't think my videos actually move the stock or whatever. But I'm also doing this is sort of, we're starting a trading challenge on Monday. It's like a $5 million trading challenge in the Stocks and Psychology of Money group. If you're part of that, you'll get all the buy sell alerts. That's obviously join before Black Friday. But yeah, I think that my thesis on Facebook here is that, well, first of all, I think we might see, if we get some good minutes today, and that's my big bet, is I think we're going to see, well, it's not really a big bet, but I think we're going to see some green after these minutes. I could be wrong about that, so we'll see what happens. And I think that the rumor that Mark Zuck might leave next year will actually help accelerate further. So I think that's very interesting. The prospects for a Facebook stock over the next few months, whether or not the rumor is true. Obviously, Facebook is denying it. Tesla up almost 3% right now. Apple turns green. They were down about 0.25%. Nordstrom and Autodesk still rotating down. You know, somebody sent me a funny note yesterday. They said, I think it was in the Course Member live stream. They said something to the effect of, Tattooed Chef is about $1.65 away from Meet Kevin's price target. And I'm like, damn, you've been here for a while, because I have not talked about Tattooed Chef since this thing was like $18 or $20. And I said that their advertising is terrible. The fundamentals of their advertising are terrible. They're advertising more, revenue's growing at a slower rate while they're ramping up advertising like crazy. They don't know how to advertise. And I was really, really bearish on the company. Was I actually expecting them to start trending, you know, so quickly to my price target of 0? No. But wow, that was a wipeout. I mean, a lot of things have gotten wiped out, you know, so, but it's been a crazy year. I mean, who would have thought that Redfin was $10? You know, I remember Redfin at $10 in the recession, the, you know, COVID pandemic. Watch this. It's crazy. Here, let's go to the week. Look at that. Where is it? Here, look at that. Under $10 during the pandemic. And look at Redfin now. $4.90. Are you serious? It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Really, really quite shocking. So, you know, the problem is real estate sales are plummeting badly. So, you know, it's hard to see the fundamental story at Redfin right now. You certainly don't have pricing power, in my opinion. I think that's the last thing you have right now. Autodesk, I think, is an interesting one. We might do some fundies on that one for the in our Course Member Live. Although there's some trends I wanted to look at as well, so we'll go through this a little bit. TSMC down 1%. Affirm's at $12. It's kind of interesting. What does that put their valuation at now? Affirm stock. That puts them at 3.6 bill. It's pretty high for the level of uncertainty, but it'd be interesting to see how. I got to look at how close they are to profitability. I want to say we're still about a year away. Airbnb rotating down under 95. Airbnb, I'm very skeptical that more people are going to resort to room rentals, and somehow that's going to lead to this real takeoff of Airbnb revenues. That's something that their CEO and such suggest. I'm very skeptical of that. So we'll look into that a little bit. I want to ask you all here in chat members, can you type in like a PP : and then a stock? Just tell me, what company do you think has pricing power that you want Kevin to maybe do a fundamental analysis on? Not right now, but you know, something for maybe a future video or something like that. Just leave me a comment. Just put PP : and then your ticker symbol. Be interesting. So, any hope for Cloudflare? Yeah, actually, Cloudflare I actually do have some hope for. It is getting harder to sell corporate subscription services right now. That is a risk, and I do worry slightly about their ability to maintain pricing power. So that is a concern that I have. Overstock pricing power, really? Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah, Trade Desk. I like Trade. Lulu, come on, man. You know that's already on my list. Lulu's got great pricing power. That's a great one. That's great. ASML. Okay. MP Material. Commodities are tough to argue they have pricing power, but some of them do. You know, I mean, they're one of the few rare earth mineral miners here. ATZ. Okay, thank you for these suggestions here. So, Datadog, really good year. D-Dog. Interesting. Funko. Oh my gosh, Chipotle. Yeah, CHPT. No, that's ChargePoint. Damn it. What? Chipotle's got a weird one. Chipotle. I don't know what their ticker is. All right, cool. So let me take a look here and see what else. Let's listen to this actually for a moment.
What kind of criminal liability does he have? What kind of civil liability does he have? He is going to be dealing with this personally for years too. That's for sure.
Eamon Javers, remarkable ongoing story. Appreciate that. We got some breaking news on PMI.
Yeah.
With that, let's get to Rick Santelli. Rick.
Yes, Carl.
I love that sound.
Preliminary reads, which means in a couple weeks they will change. S&P Global PMI for manufacturing, 47.6. That would be the lowest level going back to May of 2020. If we look at the services PMI, 46.1. If that stuck, it'd be the lowest since August when it was 43.7. That was the lowest since May of 2020. And finally, the composite PMI expected to be 48, 46.3. So we missed on all of them. 46.3 is the weakest since August at 44.6. And that was the weakest since May of 2020. So the PMIs for manufacturing services all are weaker than expected, very similar to Europe's numbers today. And Squawk on the Street will return after a short break.
All right. Hey, seriously, if you're a course member, fill out the form. I'd love to see you on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. If you're not a course member and maybe you're around New York City, December 9th, we're going to do a meetup December 9th for probably 30-ish p.m., like after the bell ringing, right outside of the New York Stock Exchange. Love to see you there. If you use the Black Friday coupon code and you join any of the programs on Building Your Wealth, you can access the sign-up form. And we're going to invite about 125. That's actually a lot of people, about 125 to the floor to join us for the bell ringing. We're very, very excited to have you. And yeah, folks, that's it for our Market Open Live. Make sure you come back for the closing bell today. And of course, my live stream for the minutes. I'll be streaming both. You might not get all of the notifications, by the way, because when I live stream, YouTube starts like sending fewer percentages of notifications. That's why a lot of creators actually don't live stream. And what I would recommend is if you want all of the notifications, download the Meet Kevin app. You can just go to your Android or Apple app store. You just type in Meet Kevin, and you can actually download that app, and you'll get 100% of the notifications if you want. Or you could, it's cool. We're going to be adding free research at some point in the future once Apple actually approves our submission. Apple's giving us a little hard time. If somebody over at Apple App Store can get this darn thing approved, I'd be forever grateful, because I'm trying to start publishing free research through that app once we get that approval. And so I'm very excited about that. So that'll be another reason to have the app. Anyway, thanks so much for being here. Got to go to the course member live stream and make a new cup of coffee. See you soon.